has this way about him that is a personality that's contagious. You want to be around him. You want to root for him. And I cannot emphasize enough how lucky Chicago sports fans are to have a guy like Pete Crow-Armstrong on their team, not only for the way he can change a game when it comes to the skill set he brings on the field, but who he is off the field. Still a long season to go, but there are a lot of really great signs that this is a good ball club. And it's been so much fun to cover because, as we all know, it's much more fun to cover a winning team than a losing team.
I was going to ask you, Taylor, what is the difference in the vibe, and why do you think after, not getting to where they wanted to go the last couple of years, why did they have the confidence that maybe this was the year, other than adding somebody like Tucker to the roster?
Yeah, so Tucker was obviously the biggest addition, and when you have the opportunity to add a guy who's going to bring 6-7 wins to your ball club, like that in and of itself is exciting. But for me, it was the younger pieces with another year of maturation, of a chance to build their confidence at the major league level. So obviously the guy everyone's been talking about lately is Pete Crow-Armstrong. But let's not sleep on Michael Busch either. I mean, his OPS is amongst the best in the league. Like, he's been a great player for this team. And so there have been pieces that you felt like really took the next step. And at the end of last year, Miguel Amaya as well, because in 2024, the big story at the beginning of the year was the catchers could not hit. They could not find any offensive production from their catching position. And then Amaya found his groove towards the end of last season, and then coming into this year, now with Carson Kelly off to this insanely hot start, and then with Miguel, like, those pieces were really important. So I think Tucker was the big name, the big splash, but then you had a lot of these younger players that you felt confident they were going to grow after having another year of time under their belt and a chance to really grow as a major league player.
Taylor McGregor joining us from Marquee Sports Network, Waddle and Silvy on ESPN 1000. So, Taylor, where did you expect, honestly, PCA to be at this point in the season?
Well, so Pete, I think we have to remind ourselves when Pete first got brought up, the reason he was brought up was because of his defense and his speed. And, like, those two qualities of a major league player to the level that he plays them at are so incredibly valuable. So we knew that was going to remain the same. And like, his speed, I also don't want to get it confused with good base running, because I felt like at times last year there were opportunities for him to grow as a base runner. He was fast, but there was growth. And then coming into this year, you thought, okay, he's going to be better on the bases. The defense is there. If he could be like a league average bat, like, you're talking about an incredibly valuable player. And out of the gates here, he has been well above average, and it's been amazing so far. Again, we still have a full season to play, a long way to go, but I think there have been a lot of signs that he's taken a big step offensively that are real. I mean, the swing and miss is down. He's not chasing at the same type of pitches out of the zone. He is hitting pitches out of the zone, and that's not a good habit you want to get into, but he's been able to hit them, which means he's on time. So I just think there are a lot of signs for him, like, oh, this is more legit than we even thought it would be. So to answer your question in a really long, drawn-out way, like, you knew the defense was going to be there. You believed that the speed would add up to better base running. And then I thought, like, if he would be around a major league bat. He still might be by the end of the season, but, like, so far it's been remarkable.
Compare his personality, that you've gotten to know him a little bit, to someone like Tucker, who just seems like he is the unassuming star. He was in Houston, and there were a lot of other big names there, but he was still a great player. And it looks to me from the outside in that he's cool flying under the radar personality-wise. Is that the way it is, or is it different behind the scenes than what you get to see?
No, he is so low-key, totally just the same guy every single day. Doesn't give you much as a reporter. I've really tried to, up my game with him and try to poke him a little bit, like, can you give me something? But that's kind of the fun part about my job, is managing all the different personalities, and everybody's different, and that's what makes the world go round. That's what makes the clubhouse work. So he's very unassuming. He's a superstar. We see that in the offensive production, but he's been just a steady guy to have in the clubhouse, and it's been really fun to watch him play baseball.
And then what about PCA? Because when Waddle and I first had him on in Cubs convention, he looks like he's the cockiest guy around. But then the first time we talked to him, it's kind of the classic don't judge the book by the cover. And there's depth there. There are thoughts. There seems like there's humility and that he's humble. Yeah, and passion, of course. What is he like?
Oh, 100%. Pete has been incredible to have around as just a human being. I say interesting and interested. And, like, that is one of the highest compliments I can give a human being, is somebody who's interesting in a really great way. Like, he has a lot of interests, things that he is passionate about outside of baseball. And then he's the kind of star that's always looking around at other people, like, how can I invest in this person? And, like, for me, and you guys know this, you're around enough athletes, like, sometimes you step into these clubhouses and it's all just like you asking players a million questions. And what's so refreshing about Pete is he'll ask you questions. How are you, Taylor? What's going on with you? And he just has this way about him that is a personality that's contagious. You want to be around him. You want to root for him. And I cannot emphasize enough how lucky Chicago sports fans are to have a guy like Pete Crow-Armstrong on their team, not only for the way he can change a game when it comes to the skill set he brings on the field, but who he is off the field. I'm just so excited to watch him grow even more into himself off the field and really allow fans to get to know him as a person, because he's incredible.
And Taylor, yesterday didn't go the way the team wanted, but they won a series for the first time in Milwaukee for the first time since 2022. How important was that series win? Not trying to overblow it, but knowing that this is a Brewers team that has won the division the last couple of years. And how important was the series win for Craig Counsell? Yeah,
I think for me, it was the first time I've ever been up there as a broadcaster for the Cubs where I felt like the shift had shifted towards the Cubs, where it was like, oh, the Cubs are better than the Brewers. And I think that's real. And I think in this series you saw that, and the Cubs proved that. And again, long season to go. But I think there was a real confidence leaving Milwaukee, like, all right, we have a good team. Like, this can be the Cubs division, because the Brewers have been the standard. They won 93 games last year. It's a lot of games. And so to go up there and take that series from Milwaukee, do it in the fashion in which they did, in offensive domination. Sunday, we got a great pitching duel, and unfortunately, with Imanaga coming out with the injury, that was tough. But overall, I think it was just a great series win, and it's sort of indication like, okay, this could be the Cubs division for real.
As of now, what's the expectation with Shota? Is it to just go for 15 days and be back, or could this be a little bit longer from what you're hearing?
I would assume it's similar to what we saw with Justin Steele a year ago. I would assume probably about a month. I do not know that. That's just about what I would assume, because you have to imagine he's probably going to have to get shut down for a little to heal. And then, from there, you're going to have to build back up a little bit. So we'll wait and see. It's a really tough blow, obviously, having already lost Justin Steele, to then lose Imanaga for a couple weeks at the very least. It's tough for sure.
Would you like to make a guess on a Cade Horton arrival?
It's funny. I was looking at his numbers in the minor leagues, and I know that's the name everybody brings up, but I'm looking at his minor league numbers right now. He's only pitched 151 and 2/3 innings in the minor leagues. So they're going to be very, very careful with him because of the injury last year. He still does not have a ton of minor league experience. I just don't see them pushing him. So I don't have an exact arrival time that I'm going to guess, because I'm looking at this and I think they're going to want to be careful, A, coming off the injury, and B, knowing he still has not pitched a ton in the minor leagues.
Taylor McGregor, I've asked this to other reporters around the Cubs regarding Craig Counsell, and you're probably around him as much as anybody. Do you feel like that it is more his team this year, and like last year he was almost caretaking Rossi's team?
Well, I think what I'll say is he's had a full year to really invest and put his fingerprints on the process. Because I think what made him so good in Milwaukee is understanding the 40-man roster and the entirety of the 40-man roster. And how do you manipulate a pitching staff over the course of a season and make moves that are in the best interest of 162? And they were really good at it in Milwaukee. I mean, they still are. And he was able to take some of that and bring it to Chicago. And I think that's where we don't talk about it enough, but there are subtle adjustments and subtle things that he's done that are really making a difference. And look, like even with this Imanaga news, like they didn't bring up a starter right now because they don't need a starter yet. So how can they manipulate this pitching staff to go however long they want to go without having to bring up another starter and then have an extra bullpen arm? Like there's just a creativity and a genius there, I should say, with the way that he's able to see the bigger picture. And to me, now that he has another year to integrate his thought process, like that's where I've seen this team really be impacted.
What's the news on Matt Shaw and the progress he may be making in the minor leagues at this point?
Yeah, I think they still want to see a bigger body of work. I certainly think there are signs. But the thing with him when he got up to the major leagues is he was just chasing results. And that's never a place you want to be, where you get away from who you are as a hitter to chase results. And so I think they want to see the body of work over the course of time. I think there have been positive signs, but again, I think it's going to be, again, over the course of time. Can he maintain that? And then what does that look like with the Cubs roster and where are they at in as far as need?